Hello again, Tina Spalding here doing the Lessons of A Course in Miracles with Jesus commentary at the end. Today is lesson 13, A Meaningless World Engenders Fear. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as to the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. Nothing without meaning exists. However, it does not follow that you will not think you perceive something that has no meaning. I'm going to read that sentence again. However, it does not follow that you will not think you perceive something that has no meaning. On the contrary, you will be particularly likely to think you do perceive it. Recognition of meaninglessness arouses intense anxiety in all the separated ones. It represents a situation in which God and the ego challenge each other as to whose meaning is to be written in the empty space that meaninglessness provides. The ego rushes in frantically to establish its own ideas there, fearful that the void may otherwise be used to demonstrate its own impotence and unreality, and on this alone it is correct. It is essential, therefore, that you learn to recognize the meaninglessness and accept it without fear. If you are fearful, it is certain that you will endow the world with attributes that it does not possess, and crowd it with images that do not exist. To the ego, illusions are safety devices, as they must also be to you who equate yourself with the ego. The exercises for today, which should be done about 3 or 4 times for not more than a minute or so at most each time, are to be practiced in a somewhat different way from the preceding ones. With eyes closed, repeat today's idea to yourself. Then open your eyes and look about you slowly, saying, I am looking at a meaningless world. Repeat this statement to yourself as you look about, then close your eyes and conclude with, a meaningless world engenders fear because I think I am in competition with God. You may find it difficult to avoid resistance in one form or another to this concluding statement. Whatever form such resistance may take, remind yourself that you are really afraid of such a thought because of the vengeance of the enemy. You are not expected to believe the statement at this point and will probably dismiss it as preposterous. Note carefully, however, any signs of overt or covert fear which it may arouse. This is our first attempt at stating an explicit cause and effect relationship of a kind which you are very inexperienced in recognizing. Do not dwell on the concluding statement and try not even to think of it except during the practice periods. That will suffice at present. A meaningless world engenders fear, lesson 13. Let's see what Jesus has to say. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and it is with great joy that we join you today. You do not need to fear, dear ones, but you are very, very afraid, and you have set up many defenses in your mind to protect you from this profound fear that is perhaps unrealized in your conscious mind, but you feel it all the time in a sense of anxiety or a sense that something bad might happen, or waking in the middle of the night feeling as if some sense of doom is present in your consciousness. These are the hidden fears that are beneath the surface of what you consider to be your personality. It is very important that we do not rush through the deconstruction of some of these ideas. Your personality, or who you think you are, your self-concept, is built upon some very, very fragile and shifting and contradictory ideas. Unloving ideas, untrue ideas, and yet there they are deep in your consciousness. And so we must do these lessons as prescribed so that you do not become destabilized. The ego will want to rush through. It will say, let's play all these videos together in one day and we will get through this mind transformation program quicker than anyone else. Do not listen to this voice. There are beings who have become quite destabilized by rushing through the lessons, and it is not that the lessons are something to fear. Oh no, they are going to take you on a path to peace and to a greater connection with knowledge and all kinds of wonderful experiences. But if you do them too quickly, if you rush them thinking that you know better than the designer of these lessons, then you are using the as yet unhealed mind to shift and change the curriculum. You do not ask a student in a classroom at university to take over the professor's teaching. So do not do the same here, but bring a healthy humility to these lessons that will allow you to do them as described, gently and kindly with yourself, following the directions perfectly. If you find yourself getting upset to such a degree that you want to quit the lessons, reassess the way you're doing them. Perhaps you are pushing too hard. Perhaps you are doing them too infrequently and are not getting the results that you are expecting. Perhaps you are rushing them and feeling a sense of anxiety because you are shifting and changing your consciousness too quickly. You will not feel bad if you do these lessons as described. They are designed perfectly to expose the shadows and the fears and the misperceptions you have about yourself and the unconscious fears and dreads that lurk deep in your mind. I am with you all of the way, and it is important that you do not allow these words to frighten you. The lessons are designed perfectly so that we will look at these shadows and these fears and these confusions slowly and lovingly together. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and we thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.